Alright, this is going to be the first of, I think, 3 videos for Chapter 6, talking about consumer decision making. And as always, the learning outcomes for the beginning of each chapter, these are things that you're going to want to be able to do, whether it be to identify, explain, analyze, whatever they're telling you to do. Make sure that you are able to do those. If you're not, make sure that you reference back to the book, or make sure you bring questions to class that I can help you with. Alright, 6.1 is the importance of understanding consumer behavior. Now, if you're looking at this slide here, understanding consumer behavior, what marketing managers need to understand is not only how consumers make their decisions, but how they use the product and how they dispose of the product as well, depending upon what the product is. All right, so for example, if a manager of an automobile manufacturer knows that gas mileage is a critical component for their target market, what they're going to want to do is make sure that they redesign the product to help create an appropriate marketing mix that includes this important component of gas mileage to be able to meet the criteria that this target market has for them. All right, they need to understand that portion of the target market, what they want, how they're going to use it, what's important to them. It's a critical element. Now, analyzing the components of the consumer decision-making process, it is a 5-step process. So whenever you go through and buy a product, a good or a service, the consumer decision-making process represents that the 5 steps that moves from recognizing a need to evaluating a purchase decision. This is used primarily more for like a guideline for studying how consumers make decisions. You don't always have to go through this decision-making process, all the steps. You don't even have to go through them in order all the time. Sometimes you even go through this and don't even decide to make the purchase. So what you need to be aware of, and you definitely want to know this, you want to know the 5 steps in the consumer decision-making process. This here is affected by cultural factors, social factors, your own individual factors, psychological factors. All these things have impacts over these 5 steps in this decision-making process. Now, starting off with need recognition, it says here that it's a result of an imbalance between an actual and desired states. If you realize that there is something that you need or something that you want, make sure you include the want here as well. Because a lot of the decisions, the purchasing decisions that are made are based upon wants and not necessarily needs. You recognize that there is a need or a want. That is the first step of this whole process. Without that, nothing else can result. Now, in here, one of the things that you need to be aware of is stimulus. And a stimulus is just anything that affects one of the 5 senses that you have. Your 5 senses, of course, are smell, taste, sight, touch, and your sense of hearing. Okay, so stimulus is anything that affects any of those 5 senses. Marketing can be the stimulus that helps consumers recognize that they have a need or a want that they weren't even aware of. A marketing manager's objective is to get consumers to recognize this need or this want. And advertising, sales promotion, which deals with giving them incentive to buy or try the product, are ways that they can, are stimulus that they can use to be able to get them to realize this need or a want. it says here, if marketers don't understand the target market's needs, make sure you put in there, anytime you see needs, include and wants. So it should say, if marketers don't understand the target market's needs and wants, the right good or service may not be produced. You're not going to make things that people don't want. You have to understand their needs and wants in order to make the products that satisfy those needs and wants. Make sure that you are aware of what consumers are asking for. Be aware of what they want, what they need, and then provide it to them using your marketing mix: the product, the price, the place, and distribution, and communication, the promotion side of things, with the communication as well as the incentive to buy or try it. Okay, knowing the difference between internal and external information search. An internal information search is just a process of recalling information from memory. It's stuff that you know. It could be prior knowledge, it could be prior experience about a product. Excuse me. But this is just recalling information about a product from memory. External information search is when you are relying on information outside of your memory. This could be references from other people. This could be publicity in the news. It could be forms of advertisements. You get information about products from somewhere or something outside of your memory. Now, when you're looking for information externally, the extent to which you conduct external information searches depends on multiple factors. It could depend upon the risk of buying the product. It could depend upon your prior knowledge, prior experience, maybe like the level of interest that you have with the good or the service. The external search can also be influenced, though, by your confidence in your decision-making abilities. Some people are very confident in their decision-making ability, and other people do not really have a whole lot of confidence in themselves when making a decision on what to buy or what not to buy. The other thing that could have an impact here is the amount of time that you have to do your research and to look things up as well. All right, an evoked set is when you're doing your research and you're getting all of your information. The evoked set is the listing of products, usually broken down by brand, that you have on your list to make your choice from. These are, in essence, your options. An evoked set is kind of like your options as to what you can buy, what product you can buy that would meet the criteria that you have in place for your need or your wants. So once you have your evoked set, once you have your options, you have that list created, you're ready to then make a decision. One way to make a choice is to pick different attributes that are important to you and get rid of any products that don't have those attributes. All right, so you have your list, you get your attributes listed there, and anything that does not meet that criteria, they're removed from that evoked set. Another way that you can try to narrow down how many options you have there is to use what are called cutoffs. This is like a minimum number of attributes that a product should have, or a maximum number of products as well, or a number of attributes that a product must have. One of the largest, probably most important cutoff attributes tends to be price. One way to eliminate different options from your evoked set is based upon price, whether you can even afford it or not, or whether you're willing to pay that amount of money for that product. Right? Brand names, could have a significant impact also as an attribute, one brand name over another. And then you get to the purchase. You have to make the decision as to whether you are going to buy or not buy this product, this good or service. All right. There are a couple decisions that probably have to be made here. Whether you're going to buy it, when are you going to buy it, what specific brand and type of product are you going to buy, where are you going to buy it, and also how are you going to pay for it. Is it going to be cash? Is it going to be credit? How are you going to handle this? All right, so make sure that you realize that it's not just whether you're going to buy it, but there are more criteria than just that, like when to buy, where to buy, what to buy, how you're going to pay for it, all of that as well. All right, post-purchase behavior, there's a term that's called dissonance or cognitive dissonance, and this is that the book, as you see, it says inner tension that you might feel. This is when you have that gut feeling that maybe what you bought wasn't the right thing. You're second guessing yourself. Should you have spent the money? Should you not have spent the money? It's a tough thing to deal with. All right, it's when you expect certain outcomes from your purchase, and then once you buy the product, your purchase decision is made. You're in essence expecting certain outcomes from it. You bought it, you have expectations, and how well your expectations are met determines how much satisfaction you have with the product. All right. What you as a marketing manager need to do is try to make sure that there is a very minimal amount of dissonance with your customers after they have purchased your product. All right, and then there are ways that you as a consumer can reduce the amount of dissonance. And excuse me, this is something that you want to be aware of also. The way that you can try to reduce that inner tension or turmoil is by these three things right here. Seeking information that reinforces positive ideas about your purchase, just focusing on the positives. Avoiding information that contradicts the purchase decision, so avoiding anything that goes against what you bought and why you bought it. And finally is if there is dissonance and you just can't get rid of it and it's been bothering you so much, you can always return the product. Right? Those are the ways that you can remove or at least reduce dissonance with your post-purchase behavior. All right, I'm going to stop here after slide 20. I'm going to try to put about 20 slides on each of these presentations, these videos here. All right, so this is the end of video 1. Get ready then for video 2.